Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. You know, this is one of my favorite weekly series. Heroes Always Welcome. It's a veteran, military, active duty, family centric show. And I am honored always to have my co host with me. It's Enrique Acosta Gonzalez with Triad Leadership Solutions. He is a veteran. Thank you for your service always, Enrique. And we're here to spotlight veterans. We want to talk about veterans, their businesses, transitioning out of the military service, all of the things that veterans go through. And then we want to see the results and the things that they did and the positives and the negatives so that we can inspire people when they are transitioning out and when they're trying to figure out how to follow their dreams. So I have the best co-host on the planet. Welcome, Enrique. How you doing?
Thank you, Ted. I'm excited about, the end of the year is coming up. The new year is coming up.
Right.
Everything is coming to a close and an opening. And so, first of all, thanks for having me as your co-host. Excited about all the things that we'll cover. Yeah, let's get to it.
Let's do it. So I think this year has been, and I want you to talk a little bit about you have a show. And I want to talk about that because I think that the advice you give, the consulting, the coaching that you give is so important. And of course, it's important for our veterans, but it's also just important in general. So talk a little bit about your background for those people who don't know you. And then let's talk about what it is that you do.
All right. Well, background is 26 years Navy veteran. I did meteorology and oceanography, loved that field and loved the work. A little bit of hydrography was in there, and I really enjoyed those trips down to South America and places like that to help those countries develop in their science fields, right? But did that for 26 years, retired, and decided that leadership development is truly at the center of my heart. I wanted to not only see people develop personally, but definitely professionally. And a funny thing is that yesterday I posted something on LinkedIn. It was supposed to be a joke. It obviously went over people's heads, but I was poking fun at the different ways that people get to leadership positions. And not often are they a straight line, but not often are they legit, right? And we all have seen that in one way or another. Someone that maybe did not deserve that spot, maybe did not put all that they were supposed to into that spot, and now they're leading people. So leadership development is one of the things that I just live, breathe, eat, and I'm so happy to be doing that on my own with Triad Leadership Solutions, bringing solutions in leadership to small, mid, and big size, large size companies. Here lately to individuals that are looking to up their game on the leadership side and be honest with themselves.
That's the thing. So I'm glad you brought that up because that was my question. I think we have all experienced leaders, and I use that term loosely when I'm talking about these particular leaders who do not listen to what's going on. They really don't have their finger on the pulse of their organization, or maybe they're a CEO or an independent contractor and they can't figure out why things aren't working out. And the problem never seems to be them. And I'm a big believer in common denominator. If you have all of these problems around you from different areas and you can't figure out what's going on, I would encourage you to look in the mirror as the common denominator. Something is not right. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad leader. It just means that you're not effective. Maybe there are some issues with your effectiveness and efficiency. So let's talk about that because I believe that the leaders that really want to change can.
Yeah, and it takes self-awareness. And I'm not just talking about, because people get this mixed up, right? I'm not just talking about that you are aware that you're a boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's not it. That you are aware that because you are, that these things happen, that these things are being impacted,
Yes.
that you are actually having a negative influence on people around you. That is self-awareness, right?
True.
And then self-awareness is not the only thing. You actually have to put action, because you could tell me, hey, you're brown. And I could say, yeah, I'm a shade of brown. But if I don't do nothing about it, you know, okay, it's not only knowing, understanding, but are you willing to take action? And that's really where the big rub is, in people taking action, because then they will tell everyone, officially, that they didn't cut it, right?
Yes. I think action is, let's talk about that too, because I was having a conversation with a teammate at my company at Future Home Loans, super amazing guy, and we were talking about action.
Mhm.
And action, interestingly enough, of course, is defined individually each time. And some people think action is, I don't know, reading every self help book known to man, and then that's action, but they're really not implementing. They may be doing something positive, but they're not taking that knowledge and making it into, or doing the actual action of changing or utilizing the information that they have. And I think that's where a lot of leaders get paralyzed. It's analysis paralysis. You just continue to look at all these things, and I'm going to analyze everything. And then all of a sudden, you're still doing the same thing and you're wondering why it's not working. But I think action is a great word to talk about. What can we do? How can we evaluate ourselves enough in our space to go, God, I'm really not acting on the things I need to act on?
Well, action is not the getting, it's the giving, right? So you can get all the knowledge you want, you can soak it up to your heart's content. Until you actually give, then you have not taken action on that knowledge. And so that's why I would say the power, they say, hey, there's power in knowledge. Well, there is a type of power in knowledge, because you're empowering yourself. But the true power is when you actually take action on that knowledge. And for those that are saying, wow, I'm not seeing much change, you need to analyze how much of that are you participating in? How much of the giving of that knowledge are you participating in? And are you truly leading in that front, or is someone else taking the helm? Because believe me, that power will transfer to the person who is giving it. It doesn't matter what position they're in.
I agree. And I think leaders, no matter what level leader you are, the self evaluation it can be a challenge. I think
Mhm.
all of us have an ego in some way, shape, or form. And so to actually have to look at ourselves in the mirror and decide, hey, I'm part of the problem or the issue or the fact that things aren't working, is a difficult thing for most people, because they want to, it's easier to go, well, it's accounting, it's engineering, it's, I don't know, it's lower management, it's the floor staff. And in reality, it all, in my opinion, starts from the top.
Yeah. Yeah, the top is what allows things to happen, right? There could be a lot of movement, but impact actually happens when either a leader decides to take action or to void the action. If
Yes.
you avoid the action, then you're just as culpable, right, of anything that happens. But when leaders are looking to influence in the mass, you have to take into account that your either ability to act or inability to act is the bottom line. It all boils down to you.
Yes, it does. And I'm taking this in because I'm personally, just with a new team. I've got different responsibilities. You always have, you have different people, the way that they receive information and
Mhm.
receive direction. It can be a challenge if you don't meet them where they need to be met, or at least
Right.
begin there. And so, one of the conversations that I've been having with my team, upper team, is, how do I take what I know I need to get done, and as a leader, how do I effectively impart that, and direct that? Because sometimes the direction of it is also a challenge. You know what you want done, you know what point A is, and you know you want to be at point B, but you don't know how to get the people involved effectively or efficiently to get there for you, because the vision is yours. So How do we communicate that? What are some ways that we can communicate with the people as leaders? If we have the plan, we know that these are the things that need to get done, but we are not doing it in a way that is beneficial or effective in our team.
Yeah, I see two things immediately. One is the leader. A lot of times we ask for help, and it is help wanted the way we would do it.
Yes.
All right, that's number one.
Yeah.
And then there's the capabilities and abilities of your team to be able to help you in what you're asking for, but the way they would do it. And so the disparity is between how we envision it done and how our team is capable and able to be able to do it. And so a leader has to look at what they want, their team complement, what he has at their disposal, or they have at their disposal, and also the leeway to understand that if you're asking someone else to do it, it will never be done like you would.
It's true.
And so you have to grow in that and understand that in order for that actual ask to be worth asking, right? Because most people say, well, I'll do it myself. Well, you're going to be doing a lot yourself if you keep telling people that, right?
It's true. I think one of my, I'll just talk about me because it's on my brain, might as well share. I feel like one of the things that I'm challenged with, and I've heard it even from my wife who has worked with me before, Ted, not everybody thinks like you or executes like you.
Yeah.
Not everybody understands your vision. You can speak it, you can put it out there, but still at the end of the day, it's your vision. You can get them to buy into it, which I think is important. But not everybody, you can't just say, hey, I want to do $1 billion in sales next year, go forth and do good. There has to be some sort of structure and some sort of plan. And I think one of my weaknesses, if that's what we want to call it, one of the things I could improve on is taking that vision and really making it so that everyone has a buy-in in it and everyone understands what the goals and the expectations are.
Also, you also have to consider, what they are buying into. We seldom ask, right? Hey,
Sure.
here's this ask. This is what I need you to do. Which part of that are you all in on? And which part of that are you having a problem with?
Right.
Because the problems we could work on. If you're all in, we're good. But we assume that it's all in because we speak it.
Yes.
And we have to know the people's hearts and minds. Now, you won't know in totality, but at least a good estimate of, hey, this person will definitely be on board with this or that. But why not ask? That'll cut a lot of the
It will. I am learning that better. I'm not perfect at it right now, but I understand the importance of it. So my action on it could be stronger, and that's what I'm working on. And just had a conversation about this, honestly. That's why it's top of mind for me. And I feel like I know that engaging. I've run multiple offices, 60, 70, 80 staff. I know that if I have a buy-in from them where they need to be, and I'm clear about what my needs are, and I'm clear about what their goals are, and I really build all of that in and have that constant open communication, fluid communication, that it works. Sometimes that I know it works. Sometimes I get caught up in I'm a big I on the disc profile. Like I is everything. I don't think any of the other letters even came into play. So somebody like me is all ideas. I know what I want to accomplish, but if I have a team, I need to include them in on that and make them part of the process.
Yeah, you remind me of, so just came up this week. My wife, if you know my wife, it would be white glove at my house all the time. It would. But that's okay because that's how she is. And you got to appreciate that. I would love to go anywhere there's white glove, right?
Yes.
The only place on earth that I've ever been to that kind of similar to that was Singapore. That place was shining. But, and everybody can agree. Yes, we want a clean house. Her clean, our clean is two different things, right? So you from the perspective of the supporter, right? Those that are in the home to support her vision of how cleaning is. We have to understand that there's a level of cleanliness that she will either accept or not. How far down that road can we go? Are we communicating? Hey, I can agree that we need a clean house, but I can only go but this far. I mean, that's my limitations. I mean, it's just the way I'm wired, right? And that communication has to happen. The same thing as a person that has an expectation has to also say, you know what, I am aware of how far you can go. I will have to bring myself down a little so that I don't drive myself nuts every time I go
Agreed.
and find something, right? So there's a conversation that has to happen where both parties can give their full measure of devotion to whatever task it is, but the leader's not over expecting, because that's where disillusion happens, right?
Agreed. And it is so much more powerful when you are in sync on that. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean your relationship is perfect. It doesn't mean that the outcomes are always perfect, but you are always communicating. The conversation is fluid and it's changing and it's adaptable, but you're doing it together. And I think the
Yeah,
together part is where
right.
the magic happens. All right, let's talk about 2023 before we head out. Tell them who we want on the show. Tell them our plans and the kinds of veterans that we would love to see on the show.
Well, yeah, you bring up a great 23. We've had the last 3 years not so great. We're alive, we're happy, we're blessed. All right. But 23, what we want to see veterans in the real estate community, those that are and active in actually helping folks find homes and find places. Because what we want to do is educate the veteran community out here on the real estate business. I am not real estate. I am a person that used real estate, right? So, from my perspective, I want folks to get educated because there's so much to learn and there's so much to know.
Yes.
From the person speaking that is a veteran and a realtor, they're going to bring forth a knowledge that's going to help that transition. There's so many questions when we transition from the military, whether you're separating or you're retiring, and it is a minefield at times, and you could easily get taken advantage of, right?
Agreed.
So we want to have both complements, those that have the experience as a person that is doing that field of work, and from those that are wanting to get that information to come join us in 23. We're going to have a lot of great guests that fit both modes. If you're out there and you have a veteran voice, your veteran community, you want to learn about the real estate business in terms of how to use it, it could benefit you, and how you can share some knowledge, we love to have you.
We'd love to have you. And for those veterans out there, that VA benefit, don't get discouraged if there are people who don't want to accept that offer. We do. We're a veteran-owned business. Future Home Loans is, and we are just such proponents and advocates for veterans and that benefit that the veterans get, the VA loan. That is a huge benefit. And so the realtors who are out there that are working it are working tirelessly to educate, as we are as well, that that is a fantastic loan. We have a lot of misbeliefs about it out in the community, and so I'm looking forward to educating people when we're hearing the real estate professionals' stories and journeys. I know we're going to be talking about that because that benefit is one that goes untapped a lot and is discounted a lot in the real estate world, and so I'm excited to be able to spotlight the veterans and share stories and inspire and motivate them from a real estate perspective and a leadership perspective. And I'm super excited that you agreed. I don't know, is this your community service, Enrique? Agreed to join me on this journey for 2023. So if you have questions, if you have a veteran, if you are a veteran, if anybody falls into that category, please reach out to me or Enrique or both of us. And we would love to have you on the show and spotlight you and get you to where you need to be. Your story is important. It's really important because there are a lot of veterans out there that are kind of swimming through muddy waters. And it can be, like Enrique said, a minefield out there. And having somebody who's experienced, who's a 26-year veteran, is super important. And we're here to help you, guide you, motivate you, and inspire you. All right. Tell them the best way they can find you, my friend.
Well, easy. triadleadershipsolutions.com is my website. Or find me on LinkedIn, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, and I'll be happy to connect.
You're amazing. God bless. You guys will be back next week. If you have someone that you would like to be on the show, please reach out to me, either triadleadershipsolutions.com, thebogartexperience.com, or like Enrique said, we are both active on social media, especially LinkedIn. Please reach out. We would love to have you on here. God bless you, my friend. Thank you again for everything. And we will see everybody